Hello everyone, I hope that you are all doing well today. It is Apex here with another video. Today I'm going to be doing a market sector analysis as well as a midweek watch list update, covering 5 tickers that have some great technical and fundamental setups and aspects to them, which I think will lead to some great upside moving forward. So let's get right into it. Before I begin, actually, I'll start by saying none of what you hear or see today is financial advice. You should always do your own research. Never follow anyone blindly. So looking at SPY here, first off, what a crazy couple days it's been. There was the bloodshed of Monday, massive gap down into a V-shaped reversal for basically every stock in every sector, commodity, currency, bouncing simultaneously together. It was pretty remarkable to see a tremendous amount of strength from that gap down open, and the bulls look to be in full control here on the broader markets. So we have Tuesday's massive increase in volume that you can see here with a beautiful bullish hammer candle. So right now, as I was mentioning in the previous video, I kind of viewed this as a bit of a bull flag, but that obviously failed and we had some drawdown. But ultimately, the only thing that the bulls were looking for was a higher low compared to 368.27. So we dipped, we bounced right off that lower channel trend line, had a beautiful reversal candle, and have seen momentum into today's session. So I have a Fibonacci extension tool drawn, or retracement tool drawn from the pivot low here to the pivot high. So we bounced right around the 0.5 Fibonacci level, not quite to the golden pocket, but still seeing a tremendous amount of follow through. So right now, based off of that, I do have targets around the 400 psychological level. The negative 236 level is right around that 400 level, which coincides very nicely with this upper trend line. So I would anticipate a couple days of bullish momentum, potentially a couple weeks, depending on how much follow through this gets and the trajectory of the price action, obviously. But I do anticipate that around 400 we might see a little bit of a top, but we will see how that transpires. Right now we are still eyeing that 395 psychological level. So we got to get to that first before 400 is on the docket. So the two levels that the bulls and bears are fighting over, ultimately the bulls need to defend this pivot low of 380.59 and break this pivot high of 394.17. Looking at the hourly chart, so we have a little bit better price action than we're used to. Typically with these massive dumps, we look for straight V-shaped reversals out of the dip. But today, or the last couple of days, we've seen a gap down open, nice bullish defense of that bottom trend line with a couple low wick candles, nice impulse move to the upside, clear higher low, and bull trend change confirmed on the hourly chart. So all in all, SPY bulls looking in full control. The dollar, so I haven't changed this pivot low. It was, for the last couple weeks, it's been that 90.1 level, and we are seeing a lot of weakness through that. So I did note in the last video that we are looking at a bit of a head and shoulders here, and it appears that the neckline is breaking, so hopefully we can see some follow through to the downside. That would be absolutely perfect for the asset bulls, but we had an impulse move to the upside, basically a 100% retracement, lower high, and now we are breaking that interim pivot low, showing that the bull or the bears are in full control. QQQ, so not exactly the same as SPY, not in a as good of a situation right now, because SPY obviously has this nice impulse move to the upside and has just made a higher low. QQQ, on the other hand, has technically broke that main pivot low that the bulls wanted to hold coming into this week. But the new pivot low for the QQQ bulls is 311 even, and the main pivot high that they need to break is 338.19, approaching that 340 psychological level. But a great deal of volume coming in. I know it's a red print here. It's just because price closed below the previous day's high, but that is a green candle and a very bullish one at that. From here, I would expect a lower high compared to 338.19, potentially make a higher low and then see continuation to 340 psychological and above. But if I know this market, we do have a very good chance of just V-shaping and claiming that 340 level from this bounce. So looking at the hourly chart, again, we have that nice clear higher low setup, different from the previous dump where we V-shaped. So we have the low, beautiful bullish candle here with a very long low wick. We bounce, clear higher low, clear bullish hourly trend change confirming that daily bounce. So keep an eye on these two levels. IWM, still the lead bull, still very strong, an excellent Fibonacci pattern here. So we bounce basically at the golden pocket. So I love to see that beautiful dragonfly doji, call it a hammer candle, and seeing clear reversal from that pivot. We have a big uptick in bull volume coming in on Tuesday's session. So I would expect continuation up into the 240s, potentially 250. But overall, IWM definitely looking the healthiest on the hourly chart. So this is more synonymous with the previous market environment where we dump and then immediately V-shape. Bit of a bull flag coming in at the end of the day on the hourly chart. So look for that to break to the upside tomorrow. And I'll actually go over TAN. I'm actually in a lot of solar positions, well, a couple solar positions. So we were watching TAN ranging here, and then we lost this key pivot support, saw some downside momentum. However, taking a Fibonacci retracement tool from this pivot low to this pivot high of 125.98, we get another beautiful touch of the golden pocket, 2 reversal candles in a row, retest that level for confirmation, and strong impulse wave into the close. So we bounce higher low, trend has been changed on the hourly chart, bounce is set for the TAN bulls, and that's good for me because I was getting a little bit worried there, seeing my solar positions run out of gas. Something that the chart guys brought to my attention, which I'll bring to any viewers here who haven't seen their videos. Highly recommend highly recommend that you do. They are similar to mine, but Dan has a lot more experience than I do. Nonetheless, he was pointing out how we've basically seen a number of months run up and without any monthly consolidation. So we are looking a little bit toppy. There is a potential for a volume climax with last month's candle. We have a big upper wick, almost a shooting star here, and it appears that we'll make some sort of spinning top candle to close out February, 2 days left. So do got to be a little bit cognizant of that on the weekly chart. All we're looking for is that higher low. So we can actually take a Fibonacci extension from this pivot down here set on November 2nd and then take it up to the pivot high. So based off of that, I mean, we are in a pretty good situation here. We were getting a bounce off what I anticipate is the 0.5 Fibonacci level. So it dipped a little bit lower than the 0.5, a little bit higher than the golden pocket based off this weekly impulse move. So we might see more continuation here. Definitely not saying that the run is over. Solar is very bullish. RSI just probably needs to cool off a little bit. That is what this pullback is going to help with. Obviously, you can see the RSI is in the mid range, which is great for more continuation to the upside. So I'm not giving up on the solar bulls. I think there's still a tremendous amount of juice left, but it is something to be a little bit more cognizant of. We do have to do a little bit more work here. So we're looking for a lower high compared to 25.05, then a higher low compared to the pivot low of Tuesday. And we got to change that daily trend. I do not think the solar bulls have enough gas to just V-shape from here. If they did, that would be truly remarkable. So we do have a little bit more work. So look for that daily trend change. So jumping into the watch list today. So these top 5 stocks that I am looking at. I tweeted about them yesterday, but I'll do a little bit more in-depth analysis right now. So HIMX is the first stock that I am looking at. So let's go over the fundamental side of things here. So they are a display processing company and at a 58% Q4 year-over-year rise. So as you can see right now, they had a tremendous increase year over year from 2020 to now. A lot of demand for their product overall, which is great to see. And just a little bit about them, they're a semiconductor solution provider dedicated to display imaging processing technologies. Bit of a mouthful. So as you can see here, all in all sorts of tech from smartphones to car display monitors. So pretty interesting company. Obviously there's going to be growing demand for this type of service. So I think the fundamental application is kind of just speaks for itself. So they got the strong fundamentals, which I just went over, and obviously we'll go the technical route now. So high bull volume, guys, this is always what I talk about. This is my favorite indicator, and it gives you both a technical and a fundamental insight into the company. High bull volume means high institutional ownership, which means likely good fundamentals and strong reason to buy. So we see this nice, almost parabolic run up that we've had over the last couple of weeks, and we're finally getting a pullback here. You notice the volume on the pullback is much lower. We do have a couple higher red beats, but declining overall, which I like to see. It's hard to find a Fibonacci target here. We could take it from the weekly chart, and in that case we would have a lot more consolidation left, just bouncing off of the 0.5. So if you're looking at a weekly Fibonacci, you can actually see price coming right to around the stop level of the golden pocket. Right now I'm just playing this from a daily perspective, but if price continues to develop, this is something that is subject to change, the stop level. So if I'm not in this position and I don't actually have the intention of entering, if I had the capital I would, but if price continues to develop a little bit here, dips down past the 782 level on the daily chart, I will look to potentially make an entry on this weekly golden pocket. But it still looks excellent from the daily side of things. I love this dragonfly doji candle that has emerged on Tuesday. Beautiful reversal sign overall, and we're getting that confirmation today. So we'll see what happens in the coming days and weeks. Ultimately, my first target, front running the negative 236, 1921. Also front running the $20 psychological level, and then looking closer to the 0.618 level, front running 22 psychological. So I'm looking for continuation north to come. Keeping my stop loss, fluid, definitely going to allow some movement if need be. Like I said, we do have the weekly golden pocket right around these levels, so it would make sense to lower the stop level a little bit more. But ultimately looking for that hourly intraday sign. Good entry would have been on this one. Again, the benefit of hindsight. But you can see great 15-minute candle here as well. Clear sign of bulls and control. So this is kind of that intraday cue that I look for when entering a trade. The next stock, CPSH. So this is one that I really like. I wish I had a little bit extra capital to get involved with this guy. This is probably my favorite pick. I should have rearranged the order of the watch list, but this is probably my favorite pick going into the latter half of the week and next week. So looking over the fundamental side of things, so they had an increasing demand for newer products and just secured a U.S. Navy purchasing order. So they had a dip in revenue because of COVID-19, but they did see a demand increase for other products, particularly aerospace applications. So obviously seeing that sentiment is still very bullish, still very enthusiastic about this company. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic, it does appear positive going forward. And then they also secured this U.S. Navy purchasing order. So it's a hybrid tech armored panel, so pretty cool. When their servicemen and women are on the deck, they have this armor. When they're manning, I forget the terminology, when they're manning the guns on the ship, they have some armor, and this is what CPSH is providing for them. So pretty cool application. I love when companies are involved in government and military. I think that speaks volume to the fundamental side of the company. But looking at the technicals now, so we can see that we had a very strong run up, a beautiful low volume pullback, and then an explosion upwards that happened at the beginning of the month. So now we are seeing some consolidation now. We have a beautiful interaction with the golden pocket, taking it from the 650 pivot low to the $30 pivot high. Incredible range on this stock. It's quite remarkable. But we have this beautiful bullish candle, not quite a hammer candle, interacting perfectly with the golden pocket and seeing some continuation today. So my targets are front running that 35 level and the negative 236. And then ultimately I have a target for the mid 40s. I mean, based off this impulse wave here, I mean, we can do a quick Elliott wave count. We have the impulse wave 1, pullback wave 2, impulse wave 3, pullback wave 4, looking for the 5th wave right now. So I do think we could get up to that 618 level. It's definitely got the fundamental momentum to push it that high, but we'll just have to see what transpires. So far, this is looking excellent. We can zoom in to lower time frames. This is a beautiful reversal candle right off of the golden pocket with high bull volume. Again, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Zoom in on the 15-minute, the hourly chart, even the 5 or the 2-minute chart, whatever you can do to derive a clear entry sign. I prefer the higher time frames just for maximum confluence, looking for that volume confirmation, bull candle confirmation at key levels, and that's how I do it. But that would have scored you a really nice entry close to the golden pocket, and you would have seen some great gains already. So the next stock, GILT. So looking at the fundamental side of things, so it's a leading provider of satellite-based broadband communication, and ARC is an investor. I know people have been kind of going off about how much people are talking about ARC and Kathy's influence, but that being said, they're still one of the best hedge funds in the game, and I am definitely siding with them whenever they take a position. So GILT is one of those companies that has a great fundamental application. Obviously, ARC sees that. So this stock was actually down a little bit. They had a big Q4 revenue miss, but I'm hoping that just provides a bit of a discount perception with investors. So a little bit of a pullback on GILT, very aggressive pullback, but not anything notable with volume here. I mean, I do have a little bit of a spike on the February 18th candle, but nothing alarming. We have another, I think that was actually it for the fundamentals. So yeah, a bit of an earnings miss, something to consider, but they're still a leading global provider of satellite-based communications, so I do not think that is going anywhere. Looking at the technicals here, beautiful bull volume. We can see this is a reputable company just because of how much accumulation that we are seeing across this price structure. We have a strong run up, deep pullback, like I said, but excellent respect of the golden pocket here. I had it drawn a little bit differently on Twitter. I had it taking it from this pivot low to the pivot high up here, and we were running into the 782.88 Fibonacci retracement levels. But I took it this time from a weekly perspective, maybe a 2-day perspective, taking it from this pivot low to the pivot high, and we have an excellent interaction with the golden pocket, great reversal hammer candle, and seeing continuation today. So what I would look for here, based off how much we've retraced, is probably a lower high. If we can see a higher low, that would be excellent. Front run the golden pocket, maybe wait till price gets to the golden pocket before entering. But that's kind of the idea. I do expect some more consolidation here. You could have taken the entry at the golden pocket. We can zoom in on lower time frames just to see level of confluence. I think this one had a great 5-minute, maybe a 2-minute. 2-minute reversal sign. Yeah, not bad. So high bull volume on the 2-minute and a bit of a hammer candle inside bar bull break. Could have been your cue, but again, this is me cherry picking. I like doing that from time to time. Nonetheless, you could wait for price to come back to the golden pocket before considering an entry, but I do think buying at these levels based off of the company and the fundamentals is a good idea. So the next stock, almost there. Next stock we're looking at, MVIS, MVIS. So it is a leading LiDAR company. Price pulled back because of an at-the-market offering. So MVIS has had, this is when I was tweeting at when it was in this consolidation phase. I mean, first thing you notice is the bull volume, but we had this explosive run up, and this is our first pullback. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Basically, they are a LiDAR company. So LiDAR has application in autonomous driving and services. Obviously, that's going to be a big part of the future. So I like the fact that this has so much bullish accumulation volume and I think it's going to be very applicable to the future. Now, like I said, they had a $50 million at the market offering, so price has pulled back because of that. And I like what their CEO here said. I mean, obviously they're going to boost it as much as possible. I'm not naive to that, but we believe this financing will give us an opportunity to firmly solidify our balance sheet as we remain committed to pursuing strategic alternatives and building value for our shareholders. So, I mean, based off the technical side of things, right, like I said, we have this great big run up and we have a very low volume pullback, non-existent volume on this pullback. I'd love to see that. That's a great sign of a reversal. This is probably number 2 on my pick. I should work on my ordering of it all, but this is definitely a great company. So price pullback, almost made it to the golden pocket, but bulls were all over that, bought that dip. Maybe this was the 2-minute chart I was looking at, and it was. So, I mean, again, when trying to find that intraday entry, it's very hard. It depends on how much you want to stare at the screens. I'm a bit of a lazier trader in that sense. I don't love just analyzing every minute by minute tick of the chart, so that's why I prefer the 15-minute or the hourly candles. But if you love watching price action all day long, you'll catch these type of perfect sniper entries. Like this is Saving Private Ryan at the top of the church tower entry right now. We see this massive spike of volume and a beautiful reversal hammer candle, and price never looked back. Looking at the 15-minute chart, it's harder to see that. You just basically have an inside bar, bull break, hourly chart, same idea. I mean, big lower wick, but maybe play a higher low off that. Nonetheless, great 2-minute indicator and seeing some continuation to the upside. Targets here are front running that -236 level. I have it put at 27.45, and then ultimately front running that -618 level right below 35. Stop a little bit flexible, but well below 10. I do not think we'll get there, and just below this 974 pivot. And the last stock, MRNA. So why am I interested in MRNA? Well, they had, I mean, obviously the fundamental reason they're the leading vaccine developer, could have a potentially bullish run based off their vaccine news. I don't typically love to play news-based stocks like this, but it is coming down to some interesting levels. So from a technical perspective, we don't have a tremendous amount of bull volume. We have a little bit in here. This is a green print if the volume is reset to previous day close. Actually, no, sorry, misreading this. So you don't have a tremendous amount of bull volume, but we do see this very strong and notable impulse wave up, and we are getting a great pullback to the golden pocket. Tuesday session, I mean, this is why I love Fibonacci, guys. You see a perfect touch to the golden pocket and Dragonfly Doji. Now, they have released earnings after hours, so we're watching the reaction right now. And the hourly bulls are situated in a very nice spot. So we have a low, we have a lower high, and a higher low. If we can break that 157.25, we confirm that hourly trend change and ultimately the daily bounce. So we'll see how earnings is digested here. I don't have any results on it yet, but that will depend, that will greatly influence my targets moving forward. So I don't have any targets listed. I am waiting for, like I said, the earnings reaction. If we get a big gap down here, I would expect to see bulls step in. If we get a big gap up, might see bulls run with it or bears take over. So much still left to be considered. I'm just sitting on my hands with this stock, not going to worry about a position yet, but I'll definitely tweet one out with key levels once I make one. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Have yourselves a great rest of your Wednesday, and I will talk to you next time.